Next, we're going to jump into just a review of the exam to find out what exactly you're up against. All right, so if you haven't already gone through and registered on ISC Squared's website, you may want to do that soon. And I say that because you can download a bunch of information that they have and resources that they have. And I would encourage you to do that. One of the things that you can get is this exam outline for the CISSP. And this is just a quick and dirty way to kind of, at a 10,000 foot view or an operation, an OV1 in DODAF, to kind of find out exactly some of the nuances that you'll need to know to be successful for the CISSP. Sitting for the CISSP. One of the things that you'll hear throughout the week is this thing that's called the Common Body of Knowledge, or CBOK. Kind of sounds like something out of Star Wars, Chewbacca, or something like that. But the CBOK is the 8 domains. That's really all it is. And security, risk management, asset security, security architecture and engineering, communication and network security, identity access management, security assessment and testing, security operations, software development security. So one of the things that I typically will ask people is, which one are you a stud in and which one are you a dud in? And usually at least one of these domains, everybody has one domain that they just aren't very comfortable with. And I guess, throughout the week it'll be challenging for you to figure out what that is for me. Some of these topics are things that I have learned over time, and some of them are things that I'm very, very good at. One of the things that you'll have to contest and figure out whenever you get into your own personal battle rhythm with answering some of these different questions, and we're going to go through quite a bit of these questions throughout the week, is how much time does it take you per question? Now, one of the things that kind of stinks about this exam is it's linear. So that means that you answer the question and then you can't go back and change the answer. That kind of sucks. But it is adaptive. So if you go through and they start to feel you have proficiencies, then they may throw in more difficult ones for specific subsections in specific domains. We have had a number of people that have taken the boot camp in the past that have only had 100 questions. So what does that mean? That means that they've gotten to question 100, they click the answer for question 100, and boom, it takes them to a little spinning circle that asks them, are they ready to take a survey about their process today? And then once they're done taking the survey, they pass the exam. Now that doesn't always mean that just because you're at question 100, you're gonna, that you're gonna fail it if you don't get the, the survey from ISC Squared, and then the finality at question 100. You could absolutely have up to question 150, so 150 questions altogether. And I say that because we have had people pass the exam that have had 150 questions. And we've had people that have had 116 questions. We've had people that have had 132 questions. And it gets to a point where the software for computer adaptive testing, or CAT, it will recognize that you have mastered, or at least sufficed, the common body of knowledge. Whether that's at question 100 or question 150 just depends on how good of a test taker you are, or how well you have gone through and learned the curriculum, memorized certain things, and how good of a test taker you are, because that's really what it comes down to. The good news is here is that you got 3 hours to answer up to 150 questions. So you got a little bit more than a minute per question. And some of these questions that you're going to see when I throw some curveballs at you this week with some sample questions, what you're going to see is some of these questions, it's going to take you a little bit longer than a minute to read it, read the answers, and then go back and reread it and read the answers. Some of them could take you upwards of 2 to 3 minutes, maybe even longer. So some of those really simple ones, you definitely want to make sure that you're reading it correctly, but you want to click it and get to the next question, so then you can spend a longer time on some of the scenario-based questions, which we'll talk about throughout the week. Good news is that you only got to get a 70% to be considered proficient here and to pass the exam. So that's something that's favorable. A low C, which is definitely doable. Most of the questions are going to be multiple guess, and they have these advanced innovative questions, which are kind of neat. Some of them are drag and drops. Others are these things called hot spots, where in a diagram you have to pick a specific spot that maybe a device or utility needs to go, and we'll show you some examples of those throughout the week as well. What I would not recommend, we had somebody last year who said that they weren't very good in a particular domain, and they said that they are willing to take a hit in that domain. So that means to me that they would take their chances of not studying that one as much, but spending a little bit more time on the other domains. I would not encourage that. I would encourage you to do your due diligence here and make sure that you at least have a decent understanding of most of the key words in these domains, because what we have found over the past 10 years of certifying people with CISSP is that whatever you are deficient in, that is what seems like the entire exam for you will be focused on. So let's say that you stink in security assessment and testing, and you chose to not hunker down in that particular area and learn all of that. You will feel like all 100 questions will be security assessment and testing. And I know that doesn't make sense to you right now, but or maybe it does make sense, but essentially it really is, it will pick, or it will seem like you're being picked on whatever those deficiencies are. So I would encourage you to spend enough time on each one of these domains that you at least give yourself a fighting chance.